I'm Kimberly, and this is Simply Living in a Small Town. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. And in my world today is Tuesday evening. I had to think for a minute. I'm mixed up. So, my husband recently started working second shift, which has added to me being mixed up. And I just been really struggling because the weather has been crazy. I live in the southeast part of Indiana, so I'm like 45 minutes from Cincinnati and Florence, Kentucky area. And I've been having trouble for about a month because the weather's gone from 50, 60 to 30 and that kind of thing, which I struggle with due to my autoimmune issues with arthritis and lupus and so on. And my cat decided she wanted to be in the video too, so I mean, yeah. But I have really struggled with the weather as of, about a month. And then recently, it's gotten super cold here in my part of the world, and it's been terrible. The night before last, it got down to 16, 17 degrees. And then last night got down to 14. And so then today we were up around 50, which is a whole lot better. I mean, I'll take 40-something, 50-something. Those are like compared to 20. Compared to 20 or less. So yeah, that makes me feel a lot better. So this week's supposed to be a little bit better. But I'm just, I really been struggling. In a lot of pain and just, yeah, sore, achy, all that, all the arthritic issues. I'm sure those of you that have arthritis or even lupus or chronic illness where you have chronic pain, you can totally understand and relate. It's just very hard. So I just try to keep myself busy and focused on things that I really enjoy to keep myself going and keep my spirits high. So today's video is really what I was trying to do here is I wanted to show my current WIPS. So I have several works in progress, which most of what I'm going to show you is blankets. I'll just be honest. I do have like one other thing, but right now I have like 3 blankets that I'm trying to finish that are for Christmas gifts for people for Christmas. So that's what I was gonna start out with today. And so I've gone back to these because I actually started 3 of these blankets. I started, I want to say a couple months ago, but I had ran out of yarn. I knew I was going to because I only had like 3/4 skeins of each one, so it was no big deal. It was just to get started because I knew that a couple of these were going to be Christmas gifts anyway. So, and then some, I'm just telling myself I don't really have any deadline on. But so here's one of my blankets. This is not very big. I want it to be just a little bit bigger yet. I'm going to get probably add another 2 or 3 skeins on this. And you can't really tell. It is a granny square type blanket, but it's the rectangular granny square, which I don't think you can really tell all that well on it just because of the colors that it is. Maybe you can. Because the colors really kind of mix in this. It's a black, white, and a gray. This is one of them that's going to be a Christmas gift. And I'm going to add at least probably 3, if not maybe 4 more skeins on this yet, because I just want it to be an Afghan. So this doesn't need to be like, it doesn't need to be huge. This yarn is the Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. And it is called Smoky Water. And it's, of course, 100% acrylic. It's a 4-weight yarn with 252 yards. So I got this. It's normally $4.99, but I originally gave I think it was $3.17 or like $3.27 because I bought it when it was 30% off. So, and this week again is 30% off. So I plan, because I just bought a skein of this last week, even though it wasn't 30% off. I don't generally do that, but I happen to be in the area of Hobby Lobby. That's a whole nother story. So I got 1 skein that I added to this, but again, I'm probably going to put about 3 more skeins on it. But their 30% off is this week, and that's when I prefer. I mean, it was actually this last weekend that I bought, and it went 30% off yet. And I just went ahead and picked up 1 skein of this and 1 skein for another blanket in here, and then I only got 3 skeins of yarn basically. So 1 for this blanket was one of them, and then the next blanket that I'm going to show you. So that's a Christmas gift. This is also a Christmas gift, which I don't know if I can even show the whole thing. Oh, before I move on, the rectangle granny square blanket. So I watched Llama Mama Kayla do this, like, I don't know, sometime this last year, and I watched her do it. So I went back and watched it to learn how to do it, because I've never done that type of blanket. I also went and watched Mikey at the Crochet Crowd. So either one of those two, like, I really liked. So between both, I figured it out. So this is the next blanket. And I know I can't show like the whole thing because it's getting pretty big. And this is another granny square blanket, but it's just a regular granny, where it's just going around like normal, whereas the other one's going in a rectangle, like box. And sorry, this yarn is also, I think this is just so pretty. This yarn is also Hobby Lobby's. I love this yarn. And it's called Daydreamery. It's also 252 yards of 4-weight yarn, 100% acrylic. And this one is actually going to be a twin size blanket. And no, I have not measured it yet, which I'm going to do shortly. But I think I only want to add probably another skein or 2 on it, I think is all I'm going to need. It's pretty good. It's pretty good size. So there's that one, and that's also a Christmas gift. Hopefully that doesn't fall off there. And then sorry, I'm bending over into my like WIPS bags here, so because I don't have a table set up here yet. Now this next blanket was gonna be potentially a Christmas gift. It was one I kind of started, and then I kind of had somebody in mind, and then that person is actually completely out of my life now, which is fine. But I was unsure kind of anyways about giving it to him, because I actually have loved how this one was starting to play out and how it looked. Now the black, white, and gray one, the first blanket I showed you, I gotta say I was kind of disappointed because you can see the granny clusters, but I don't think you can see as well the, you know, the rectangle going around the blanket. It is looking pretty, and that blanket is actually going to be for my son, so he's not going to mind at all. But it just it is interesting sometimes how the yarn will play out and look, and you just sometimes, you know, it doesn't look the way you thought it was going to look, is all I'm saying. So this blanket here I actually love, and I was actually already kind of thinking about keeping it for myself. And then, like I said, the other person that was around that I was thinking about giving it to for Christmas is gone now. So that's so I've decided, yes, I'm just gonna like literally keep this blanket, and it's eventually it's gonna be for my living room. But here is another, and you can tell on this one, this is a rectangle granny. And if you can see, I mean, you can really see that, I think, on this one compared to the black, white, and gray one. But I really love how pretty this one is looking. This is also the Hobby Lobby yarn as well. I love this yarn. A regular 4-weight acrylic yarn, 252 yards. This is called Royal Gorge, the color. I also have a poncho made out of this same yarn. I just love it. I think it's like the pattern is just, the colorway is so pretty. So this one right now, I'm going to go ahead and get some more yarn. This one does not need to be finished before Christmas. So I'm just going to work on it, you know, here and there when I have, you know, it's a mindless for me crochet type thing that I can sit and work on in the morning or in the evening before I go to bed. And I don't have to sit down and try to read a pattern or anything. So I will work on that in between, but my bigger focus was the first 2 blankets. So I also still have, though, 2 more blankets here. One of them is one that I'd like to get done for Christmas, and one is not. So this one here is one that is, before I started it, I was like, this is just going to be a long-term kind of winter thing. I'll work on it here and there. Whenever I get it done is whenever I get it done. Like, it's going to be for my bedroom. So whenever it gets done is whenever it gets done. I'm not in a hurry. And again, it's mindless crocheting that I can just do here and there, and it's no big deal. So this, and I love how this is turning out. The colors, again, this is another granny blanket. And it's not really huge right now. Now this blanket is, oh my goodness, my cat is in a whip bag. This blanket here needs to be a queen size for a bed. So this is going to have to be significantly bigger. So that's going to take a while, because this is one of those that I'm just working on here and there, and I'm not pressed to get it done tomorrow. So no problem that way on this. But I do love how, I just love these colors. Like, I love vibrant, bright, fun colors, and I absolutely love this. Now, this yarn, I'm going to tell you, this yarn is Red Heart yarn, the Red Heart Super Saver color block, and it's called Party Time Fiesta. And these are actually like really big skeins, which I like too, for $7.48 a piece at Walmart, which is where I got these and how much I paid. It's 482 yards, and so it's a really good deal. Now I will tell you, like, yeah, for that amount of yardage, that's a lot for, I mean, I think it's a good amount for that price. Now, I'm not huge on Walmart in general, although I do, obviously, like many people, I go there and buy things, to some extent at least. Well, for us out here where we live, Walmart is actually, I live in a very small town. So, where you're talking, you know, there's only like a couple thousand people in this town. Very rural part of Indiana. And, so Walmart is our closest, like, actual kind of store. Besides, we have a small grocery store in the town where I live, but I mean, we don't have anywhere that you can go buy yarn, clothes, like a lot of stuff in this town. I mean, it's just a very small town. So I do go to Walmart off and on occasion, because Walmart's about 15-20 minutes from me. So I will say, so this yarn is Red Heart, which I'm just gonna say it's Red Heart Super Saver color block. Nonetheless, it's a Red Heart Super Saver. Now, I'm not gonna say that like Red Heart is the worst in Yarn Inspirations, is because you know, that's not my opinion. But what I will say is I am not, all Red Heart Super Savers are not made equally. And what I'm trying to say is that some of them are okay, like as in they feel okay and are not real rough in that, and some of them are downright terrible. I had gotten a skein last year that I started making a scarf out of, and because I really loved the colorway. Well, I didn't realize, and it did kind of feel weird, but then when I actually started using it, it did feel like it was ripping through my fingers. It was just, I've never felt yarn like that ever. And it is a variegated yarn, and I do know that there's something different, that whatever it is they put on, like some of those yarns, it makes them really rough. But this was terrible. It literally, and I don't have real bad like skin sensitivity and that kind of thing, but yet I felt it felt like it was ripping through my fingers, which it wasn't. But I had to stop using it. I finally got through that one skein and I ran out, and I have not bought any since, because I thought, I'm not ready to deal with that yet. But the scarf I was making, I was actually making to sell. So for me, that's a problem, because of, you know, sure, I could wash it and it could be, which is what's going to have to happen to that, because I'm, at this point, that's what's going to have to happen. I just want to finish the scarf and wash it. But what I'm saying is, this is not handy ideal to go buy a yarn that turns out to be like that, and you're making the item to sell. And I don't personally, I'm not going to sell something like that to someone that feels like that rough. I mean, it didn't even feel like a rough wool. It was like a scrubby pad or what going across my fingers. And I mean the ones that are like scouring pads. So I don't know, but my point is that, you know, I watched the Red Heart. I do love, like, up until last year, I always used Red Heart Super Saver. I just grew up like that's what my mother used for the most part, and that's what I used for forever. And then it wasn't until this last year I started branching out to other brands and trying other types and finding out, you know, what's out there for yarn. And I do love, and I still will buy Red Heart, Super Saver or not, because absolutely they have some of the coolest colorways that, like, you know, I just want. Probably like a lot of other folks. But what I'm saying is I won't buy it unless I can touch it, because I don't want to buy another skeiny yarn that feels like that. Now, the blanket that I just showed you, that's the Red Heart Super Saver color block, it does not feel like that. If it did, I wouldn't be able to, you know. But I've also went to the store and did the, you know, feel test to feel what it felt like, and to make sure that, like, it didn't feel that way. So now every time I add to that blanket and I buy another 2 or 3 skeins, because that's what I normally do, is I'll go just buy 2 or 3 skeins at a time for that blanket. I'm going to touch it in the store and, you know, kind of like on my hands to make sure that it doesn't feel like the one I got last year. So, no. Get in. So I'm not completely against Red Heart at all. You know, I like Red Heart yarn, and I'm always going to. But there's something just weird about some of it that I'm telling you, if everybody felt that yarn, they would be surprised, because I was completely surprised. I didn't expect that. But anyway, I will still buy it. Again, I just need to feel it first. So that's kind of my thing on that. So the last blanket that I have here, and it's another granny blanket, which you pull a stitch there. This I am sort of making for Christmas. This is just going to be an Afghan. So I'm just making this as an Afghan for my husband, since he's always cold, like always cold, needing 2 or 3 blankets wrapped around him in the winter, even though I'm supposed to be the sensitive one to the heat and cold. But anyway, so I was making this for him, just an Afghan for him to curl up with. And it's not huge, but sorry, my cat was stuck on the blanket. She's bound and determined. She's in the whip bag now. This cat has an obsession with bags. So anyway, this is just an Afghan for my husband. And so I'm just going to get one more cake of this. It's not very big, but I figure probably one more cake should make it big enough. This is a Karen big cake, and the color's Nightberry. It's a weight for 100% acrylic. And honestly, I'm just gonna say, so it's like a two-tone gray and a two-tone blue, because it has like a light blue, a darker blue, or is it maybe 3 kinds of blue? Well, it has, well, this is the, so I don't know how well that'll show. Oh, that actually shows up pretty good. So that's what it looks like in knit. But it's basically, it's all blues and grays. So I think it's turning out really, really nicely, and I'm happy with it. I personally would not have chosen that color. Now the yarn, I would have for sure chosen Karen cakes. Like, who doesn't love Karen cakes? Like, I'm just saying. But actually, my husband picked out that yarn, so this was kind of, we had went shopping like months ago, and he'd actually taken me to Michael's, and we bought a bunch of yarn. And well, I say that he bought me a bunch of yarn. I was looking around, and the next thing I knew, he was literally just throwing cakes of yarn in the cart. And he says, yeah, you know, I'm gonna buy you this yarn. So I'm like, so I didn't say, ooh, like, I don't like that. That's not my color. Like, he threw a bunch in that he literally picked out, which, so that was fine, you know. I still got the, like, I was like, okay, because I've told myself, you know, whilst there's certain colors that are definitely like my colors and that kind of thing. Again, I really love vibrant, bright colors, but I also like, I like all kind of colors, but I just wasn't like completely that colorway is called Nightberry. It is very, it's dark, kind of like more, yeah, more dark looking is all I can. Yeah, I had a word on my tongue, on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of it. Anyway, so it's not really like, you know, it doesn't, the colors are pretty, but it just doesn't really appeal to me so much. For myself, that is. So, but you know, this is something I've had to like deal with the last year, which is like, I am working towards putting a store in the building we live in, putting a store downstairs in the front room where there's a retail space. Like, it's a commercial storefront. That's what I'm trying to say. Commercial storefront. So, you know, I've already thought, wow, you know, I have to branch out. So when he got these other colors and stuff, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, this is a challenge to, like, you know, I have to do that. Like, I have to branch out with my colors. I can't just go choosing, you know, oh, these are the colors I want. You know, whilst whatever maybe the colors that I want, that's not necessarily the colors of what others want, and especially men, because I don't, you know, I do some of the darker colors, but I'm not, I think when it comes to crochet, for me, I'm more of the, again, brighter, I feel like brighter, happy, fun colors. Now, that's not specifically entirely, but that's more what I tend to lean to. So I thought, well, this is great. Like, he got that. And then I just thought, hey, you know, one day I had started these blankets and they were coming along and I needed something else to work on. So I thought, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make him. He's always cold. Like, I'm going to go ahead and make him an Afghan out of that yarn he picked out. Like, since he likes it. But it has, I have tried to branch out with my colors and start trying to get things to make things, you know, even if it's just hats, scarves, gloves, whatever it is, that would be more like I can't even speak, gender neutral, or more towards a male, because I think a lot of the colors I pick are more feminine. Not necessarily, but, you know, so, I mean, everybody has the colors that they like, so who knows. But what I'm saying is, I'm not directly, I didn't generally pick colors that I thought anyways were more masculine. So that's something I need to work on, because I obviously need to create items that are, you know, for everybody. But what I'm saying is, like, even if those are colors that are not my favorite, you know, I still need to create things with them. If that makes sense. So appeal to the masses is what I'm trying to say. Appeal to the masses. So that's been a really good thing to, you know, think about and realize it too, is that to keep that in mind, because obviously I want to sell things. That's one of the things that I really want to do within my store, within my storefront anyway, is and business, is I want to appeal to the masses. Not, I don't want to be just a business that is more appealing to just women. You know, I want to be able to appeal to a wider market of people. So I'm going to mention something else because I didn't say this earlier. So these granny blankets, granny square blankets, this has been exciting for me. And I know they're all a type of granny square blanket, but I'm telling you, I am like, I love making these. I mean, they are just, I absolutely love the look of them, and just crocheting them, and I just love them. There's just, it's just something about it. But previous to this, I'd only ever made 2 baby blankets. Like, these are the only, what I'm saying is, I've never made blankets like even as big as I have these now. I've never made an Afghan size blanket or bigger even. I only ever made 2 baby blankets like 20 years ago. And honestly, it was no pattern. I just did like all double crochet or something. And I don't feel like they turned out very good. But but nonetheless, like, I don't know what it was, because my mother's created numerous blankets when I was a kid and stuff, and I watched her do it. I for some reason, I was intimidated by the idea of bigger blankets, because I thought, oh my, it's going to take me like all winter to do one blanket. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong. I mean, I've done all this in a couple of months, and then some. I mean, I actually have, I have a whole nother blanket downstairs I'm also working on that I didn't bring into this, because I have put that to the side momentarily. So, mainly I'm trying to focus on getting at least the 2 done, if not the 3 for Christmas here out of these 5. And like I said, I actually have another blanket downstairs that I'm working on too. So, but what I'm saying is, I was completely intimidated by this, thinking that, wow, I'm just, you know, like it felt daunting to me thinking about making a blanket big enough to fit my queen size bed, because I thought, it's going to take me all winter. It's literally going to take me all winter. I don't have that kind of, like, it's just too long. So one day, you know, well, what it was, actually, I was at Walmart, yeah, looking at yarn, and I saw that Party Time / Fiesta yarn, the color block Red Heart Super Saver. I just love that colorway. It totally appealed to me. Bright, happy, fun. I mean, it's called Party Time, like Fiesta, like, yes, I mean, I love the colors in that. It's so pretty. Well, it was like literally several of the colors in that were colors specifically that I was looking for my bedroom. So when I saw that, I was, oh my, I love this. It's going to be perfect. So I just bought like 2 skeins originally, and I thought, it's okay, it's no big deal. I'll just tell myself, like, hey, you know, this can be a long-term project for the winter. Like, it's okay. You know, if it takes all winter, it takes all winter. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But I really wanted to do that, because I thought, man, I love these colors. Like, they would look great with my new wall color in my bedroom and everything. So that's basically what hooked me. I just gotta say, was the color. Like, the colors were what I was looking for, and it just hooked me. And so I got started on that one, and I was pleasantly surprised, like, how fast I could run through an entire skein. And I was like, oh my, like, this is like I can do this a lot quicker than I thought I could. So then I started making the pink and the different blues here. The one that's called Daydreamery, that's Hobby Lobby yarn. I started making that one. And I was like, thinking I want it to be a twin size blanket. Quite a ways. Of course, I've ran out of yarn on those. I have, in that one alone, I think I have 5 skeins of yarn in that one. And then the black, white, and gray one I have, that's Hobby Lobby, the Smoky Water, I have 4 skeins of yarn in that. So, I buy a skein, like 3 skeins, and, So, and I just add to it. Well, so Beans 30% is off this week on Hobby Lobby. I will be going back, and I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the yarn that I need for the 2 blankets that are for Christmas. But anyway, what I'm saying is I am very proud of myself because I've never done blankets like this. And even the one that's Karen Cake that my husband picked that yarn out, I wasn't thrilled about the colors per se. At first when I started doing it, I was like, I'm not sure about this because of the colors. And then I told myself, hey, you know what? Trust the process. All the rest of them look great, and that pattern is great, and it's going to look great. And sure enough, the bigger it got, I was like, oh, wow, I actually really like it. I actually really do like it now. The colors are still not entirely my thing, but I do love the blanket. So for those of you that haven't done a blanket yet, don't be intimidated because you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And also, I didn't mention the regular granny square blankets that I am doing, which is 3 of them that I showed you. Those are, I watched Miss Bag O' Day, Crystal, Bag O' Day Crochet, and I've watched numerous other ones since then of granny square, but she is a fantastic instructor. So if you want to know how to make a granny square, watch her. She has, matter of fact, tons of tutorials on tons of everything, and also including other granny type squares that you would want to make or what. So that's it for today, and I hope everyone has had a wonderful day and have a great evening or a great day tomorrow, whichever day it is when you watch this, if you're still watching, which I hope you are. So I'll see you later. Thank you and God bless.